just so small.
This is Obie Smith, and you're tuned in to About That. Alrighty, guys. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. I don't know if you heard in the intro, but my name is Obie Smith, and we have a very exciting episode planned for you today. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not alone. None of us are alone. But specifically right now in this moment, I am joined by my dear friend, Miss Haley. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
This is terrifying.
Is it scary?
It's a little scary.
You shaking in your boots?
I'm not wearing boots.
You're
I
not
should have
wearing
brought
boots.
them. I'm shaking in these weird half size too small American Eagle knockoff sneakers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, that is.
I wanted a white Air Force moment, but I'm not a white Air Force gal.
You see, I made the mistake of I bought white Air Forces, but I accidentally bought the platform ones. And now, like, whenever I wear them, I feel like a giant woman.
I'm scared if I buy platforms. We had this conversation the other day that I will be tiny woman in big shoe. I will look like this tiny, stumpy person because I'm 5'1".
But then, like, just big shoe.
In big shoe.
My problem is, like, I have really skinny ankles. Like, I have thick thighs, but really skinny ankles. But then I buy chunky sneakers.
Just triangles.
So it's like... Yeah. I'm like the
Walking around.
opposite of cankles. Like, whatever the opposite of that is, that's me.
Thankles.
Nankles.
ankles.
It still sounds, you could say thick ass ankles. Nankles.
Well, you know what? That's
Needle ass
that's
ankles.
up for them to decide.
It's up for you guys. Let me know what the opposite of cankles would be, even though cankles doesn't really stand for anything. It's just cank, which doesn't mean
I don't like
big.
that at all. I don't like that at all.
No, literally, our boss, Adam, the other day, like, I walked in, it was yesterday for the Sycamore party or whatever, and I was wearing my stompers, and he was just like, why are you so big right now? And I was like,
Listen, Stomp the Yard had a real big effect on you when you were little.
When I was wearing those heels, he started talking shit to me, and he was sitting down, and I said, stand up. And he got so quiet.
You know what? He had a moment there, a moment of reckoning
He had a
with
moment.
himself and with you.
I think, like, all of us are around, like, the same height, but I did realize the other day that I am the tallest female by, like, Hannah's the tallest female. She is a hair taller than me,
Yeah.
and I don't like that.
Yeah,
don't
I have to
fuck
look
with
up
that
to
shit.
all of you.
Yeah.
And everything in that restaurant is built for anybody above my size.
I remember whenever I started working, you were like, it's so nice to have another short girl. It's like, I'm not
You're not.
short.
I have a complex.
I'm like 5'5",
yeah.
I think.
No, I have a complex. I want to be taller than I am, so I believe it.
Yeah. No, you are. You're like 6'5", at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
When she said 5'1", she actually meant 15 feet.
I'm a liar.
She's a liar.
It's in metric, and I
Of
don't even
course.
know metric.
I don't know. I think it might be smaller.
It's none of my
I'm
business.
Sure. But now that we've bullshitted. Ooh.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all. For about 3 minutes. We don't really have a set topic today, but I was thinking about basically taking the form of, you know what grinds my gears? If anyone remembers that
Family Guy episode.
Family Guy episodes, you know what grinds my
Yeah, it
gears?
grinds my gears.
So I wanted to start out with when I asked Haley what we should talk about.
We should preface this by saying my brain is a scary wasteland.
It is.
Most days. It's a lot of sharp objects and crashing percussion.
There is a little monkey in there.
A little bit.
I like to
Little
think his
monkey
name
man.
is Hank. And
now.
he has little symbols. Yeah. And they're just constantly just psh, 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 up in that brain of hers at different tempos all at the same time.
Yeah, he has a little
insane.
Shriner's hat, those little red caps.
Oh,
with
yeah.
The tassel. The tassel is
Just
flying.
flinging and flying
Just
everywhere.
flying. Sometimes he likes to make up songs. It's not, like I say all the time, none of my business. I don't, that's just Hank.
It's just Hank.
That's just Hank. He's doing what he does. So this is a list of subjects from Hank.
This is from Hank. This is the most chaotic fucking
I'm so sorry.
Reading back over it, I was just like, bah. But I remember the first thing that you mentioned was self-checkout machines. And I was like, were you planning on doing a whole episode?
Listen, I've listened to podcasts for a very, very long time.
Okay.
Back when you had to like scramble to find them or only YouTube them, and it was just people talking with headphones on, and it was just a video.
Good days.
So I've always thought about if I had an opportunity on a podcast, and the only thing that ever pops up in my head is how I hate self-checkout machines and capitalism.
I loved how, like, I asked you, and, like, I feel like your brain was like, which Seinfeld skit should I do?
I've seen every episode of SNL. I've categorized every skit based on which ones I think I could perform in public.
Yeah, of course.
This is it.
My toxic trait is watching on stage comedians and going, I could do that.
I could do that.
I could do that. My toxic trait was thinking I could have a podcast.
My toxic trait was saying yes.
To this?
Yeah, you said, what would you like to do? And I was like, oh, we have to plan something.
Yeah.
And my brain never heard a single thing in my life. I've never heard a podcast. I've never watched TV. I've never had a single experience ever that I could talk about. So here we are.
Here we are. Every time I sit down to plan an episode, it never fucking works. Yeah. And I'll sit here with all these notes and these ideas in front of me, and then I don't touch them for about 30 minutes.
Watching Obi plan a podcast is interesting. She sits down and she does her little clicky-clack businesswoman sitting on the computer at the end of the bar at work. And I get to watch her. I also get to shout things her way, even though I'm in no way qualified to do so. So that's pretty fun. And then I listen to the podcast and I'm like, ooh, you had 17 full sentences on that sheet and half of one made it in there.
Half of it,
But it's interesting to see the progression from beginning to end.
It's chaos. The thing is whenever I remember when I came in and I pitched the podcast to Kyle and Brighton, I was pretty much just I have all these ideas and none of them will probably be used. And I remember when I first did the first episode, the whole the service industry one, that one, and I was given the blessing of meeting Young Gravy. That gave me the perfect intro.
Matthew.
My life will be made whenever Matthew listens to that first episode.
I can't wait. I am call back to the first episode. I'm the other server that Young Gravy called ugly.
There we are.
It's my moment. I'm the other server. We both looked great that day.
We
you
did.
Can't say anything.
We looked amazing.
Yeah.
I was so confused. Anyways, no, I remember I had a whole, I had printed pages. I had Adam printed out at the joint because I was so, I was shitting myself. I was like, how am I about to do this? And I have, these printed out pages and, I come in here and Kyle and Brighton are sitting here and I'm starting to read the first episode and I'm like, fuck, this is horrible, fuck, the whole time. But
these are my words out loud. Somebody else is saying them.
The thing is I write like a 30-year-old English professor.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. That's how I write. But in my brain, it's little few word do trick.
Few word do lot trick.
Few word do lot trick. But whenever I'm writing down, I'm literally I'll be conceptually. And I'm I'm not going to fucking say that shit.
I wrote a waiver for this trip that we're taking our regulars on at work. We're going on a drunk adult field trip to go watch hockey, which is going to be fun. But I wrote this giant waiver out, and it was a very professional demon had possessed my body. I was using so many words.
Suddenly, Haley did get her degree.
I did. I did not drop out of community college very early. But in that moment, nobody knew. I was using all sorts of real fun words, real threatening words, fun words. Basically, I'm a lawyer now. So
yeah, basically. I would allow you to defend me in court.
Thank you.
And then I would serve life in prison.
Yeah, you absolutely would. But it would be such a good time.
It would be fun.
Not the prison, just the trial.
I mean, I've been to jail.
I'd like to think I'd do so well.
I feel like you would be an entrepreneur.
I would run that shit.
You would be running prison.
I would have some type of, and I learned this from one of the things that pisses me off most in this world, MLM boss babes. I would have so many buzzwords that I could use to sell people things that they don't need. I learned how to make mascara out of ink and Jell-O.
Jell-O?
Yeah, and then colored pencils.
Okay.
You make eyeliner and eyeshadow.
Wow.
And I would start my own MLM.
Basically,
I'd have a downline. Yeah.
You would be the Avon of the cell block.
Would.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
The cell block tango Avon edition.
My Lula Rich documentary is going to be showing as soon as I get out of jail.
I'm so
for
excited.
Whatever I did.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So now that we've done that, so self-checkout machines.
Self-checkout machines. I hate them. It's a very, very long rant, but in short, I feel bad when I use self-checkout machines, right? Because they pay people to stand and watch like four different people watching you do the self-checkout
Yeah.
that I don't know. I'm not qualified to use. They didn't train me. If they did, I fast forwarded through the video, the training video.
Exactly.
And it goes boop, and then it goes, eh. And I said, what the eh? What's the eh about? And then somebody has to come over and tell me what the eh is, and then scan something and fix it. And I'm like, by the time I got out of the self-checkout line, like, I could have just gone through a regular line.
The thing is these days, there's not even people in the regular lines anymore.
Yeah.
There are no cashiers.
Yeah,
What happened to the cashiers? Where'd they go?
Because they're replacing them with self-checkout machines, because capitalism.
Robots. Capitalism.
Capitalism.
Consumerism.
They're paying to have these machines
Mm-hmm.
there. And then they don't have to pay workers a fair or living wage, or they can threaten them with it. Say, this machine can do literally your job, except for it sucks.
It does kind of suck.
They do kind of suck. They can do your job for you, and we don't have to pay them. They don't have to get breaks. We don't have to do anything. It could be 24-hour self-service, whatever it is. Less people on the clock at all times.
Yeah.
And then the more that we use the self-checkout machines, the more that we tell the company, like, hey, put more of these in here. We don't want real cashiers. We don't want real face-to-face interactions.
Yeah, because boo.
Yeah.
Ew.
Well,
people.
I love speaking to strangers in public.
That's why you're a bartender.
Very, very strange of me. I love it.
It reminds me, the whole thing with self-checkout machines reminds me of the scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when he gets replaced by, so his dad works, Charlie's grandfather, parental figure.
The one that lays in bed the entire time and then whoop-de-doos it right out of the bed the second he gets a golden ticket.
That's a grandpa.
Mooch?
That's grandpoo. The grandpuno.
Great-grandpuno.
Great-grandpuno. I'm talking about his dad works at the toothpaste factory.
Oh, yeah.
He puts the lids on the toothpaste, and then he gets replaced by a robot, and the robot starts doing it because, labor costs. Who wants to pay people?
They have robot bartenders now. In Vegas, have you seen those things?
No.
It's terrifying.
It's scary.
Like, it literally looks like this little arm, and it goes boop, 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 and it just, like, mixes, like, it picks up the ingredients from, like, these little wells it has, like, little bowls of vodka, like, little bowls of vodka it has to the side, and it goes,
my favorite bowl.
And it, like, drops it in the glass and, like, can shake it and do everything. So we're being replaced soon. That is Adam's goal. I know he's not going to fully listen to this. He's going to get 10 minutes in.
He never does. He always tells me that he listens to it, but I know he's fucking lying.
Adam Lordust, if you're listening
if you're listening, I'll give you $5.
We're giving you a pop quiz at the end of this.
Oh yeah, pay attention.
Ready.
Take notes.
You made it this far. You got to listen to the rest.
You're already past the 10-minute mark. You can do it.
You can do it. His dream is to replace every single one of us with robots on a food truck. He wants to take our restaurant, make it as small as possible, even though it's literally the smallest hallway of a restaurant.
It is a very small restaurant. Even Young Gravy said it himself.
Yeah, well, he's a very big man. He's a very long tall
boy.
Man. Long boy. Long
Gumby
noodle boy.
Little boy.
But he wants to put us on a food truck with robots.
Okay.
Not put us. He wants
We're not
a food truck with robots.
He wants a Jack Brown's food truck with robots.
Yeah, because he saw a self-checkout machine once.
And
now every single person's being replaced.
it's because he watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and has inspired him since the beginning. And then, he saw it in media. It influenced him as a little pea-brain child. And then...
I like that.
Yeah.
He said, you know what?
Subconsciously it was there, and then he saw it as a reality when he went to Target. I can't imagine Adam in a Target. When he went to the City Trends and saw
the grand opening of the City Trends.
And he saw the self-checkout. This is us just shit-talking our boss.
Listen, I told Adam he better listen up.
He's not going to listen to this.
He is now, because I'm going to tell him that we just shit-talked him the whole time. And now he's going to be interested.
Now, see, that's how you get him in.
Here it is.
See, that's how, do you remember when I did the hookup culture episode?
Yes.
I basically pitched it to every man I had hooked up with, and they all just had to know, did she talk about me?
They all listened in.
And that was one of the most listened to episodes.
Yep.
Because the entirety of my body count was tuning in, just in case I happened to mention the fact that our sexual experience was mediocre at most.
And you know what? Every time you said something good, moderately good, they're like, that's me. That's me. Second you said something bad, they just paused it and they said, it couldn't be.
The thing is that they all look the same. They're like carbon copies. There's just a few, there's questionable choices in there.
There's more than a few. But you know what? It was a learning experience. Experience.
It's okay. While being on this podcast and stuff like that, we've gone through like 2 whole relationships of me being like, hey guys, I met a boy. And then I'm like, fuck.
And then,
hey guys.
And then later on the podcast, you're like, by the way,
like
I have gone through something. Let me tell you about it.
I literally post a whole episode talking about hookups and relationships. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have a partner. And then like 3 episodes later, I'm like,
solo
breakups. Let's talk about breakups.
Let's be angry at every man we've ever met.
I'm always angry at every man. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like Adam always says that like I'm turning into you as in like a little man hater. But I was like, I think I was like that before. I just wasn't as open about it.
For all of the male listeners, I don't mean
there
to
aren't
hate
many of them.
all of you, but I do. I don't mean to. It just happens because every time I'm like, you know what, this one could be good. This one's all right. Then it turns into a whole debauchery of an experience.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one of my lawyer words from the waiver.
That's one of your lawyer words. Yeah, definitely. I was wondering. Don't mind me. Let me just break the microphone. The amount of times that I just like accidentally bump into it, and I'm like, you can see it in the video. I'm like, bonk.
I do have to stop Hank the monkey brain from biting this right now. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I look at it,
fun story, and Brighton's gonna have fun editing this because there's
so sorry, Brighton, about this.
There's a part. I don't even know if we were like recording. I think it was just us after recording an episode. It was me, Brighton, and Kyle, and we were just like, all right, that went well to do. And I just go, home.
That's all I want to do.
I just go, home on the microphone, and he just looks at me. This is like the second time I've met this man.
Let me show you what I'm about.
And he was like, oh, did you just? And I was like, I couldn't resist it anymore. I had to do it. I don't even know if we were recording. It was just like, I was like, hey, you know what's a good way to make an impression on these people?
Bite their very expensive audio equipment because it looks like a weird tiny gumdrop.
Me want to put in mouth.
Yeah. What's that about?
You know what else grinds my gears?
What else grinds your gears? Tell me.
Eyelashes on cards.
All right, listen. This is something that I am known to be passionate about.
I have a direct quote for it as well.
To the fact that people will text me when they see them because they know that I will just start screaming wherever I'm at. And it is a very loud scream.
I feel like you and just ridiculously decorated vehicles.
I almost called the police. I went to Staples. And I will never call the police over really anything, even though I love the drama of it.
The drama. Am I I don't think I'm the problem.
And I love a good situation, right? Mm-hmm. I will never call the police unless it's something very, very bad that has happened. Mm-hmm. I pulled up to Staples, and there was an SUV with pink polka dots, eyelashes, and a bow. And when I tell you, I looked like a Karen. Just standing there behind it, phone in hand, ready to ring
citizen's arrest.
I was about to. If they had walked out, I would have done it. I would have fought them. And it was probably the angriest I've been in a long time. It takes a lot to anger me. It's except for this entire list of things that we're talking about.
This entire list of things. No, I am slightly proud of the quote of, "It's not your toy." I can't even fucking say it. It's not your toy Yorkie. It's a Volkswagen Beetle. Tiffany, grow the fuck up.
Grow up.
Grow the fuck up. You don't have to give it antlers on Christmas. No one asked for that. No one asked for... Your car's not Rudolph, believe it or not.
Nobody looks at this car.
It's a punch buggy.
Me and children included. Nobody looks at that and goes, Rudolph. Rudolph came. No. You're an adult driving a very expensive car.
Yes.
And you just put a little pom-pom, a little red pom-pom on the front. For what? Because then you're also going to have to remember to take it off after Christmas. Because if not, you're the idiot driving a reindeer car.
Reindeer car. In February.
Post-season. But then, like, the eyelash. What if I have very sensitive eyelashes right now. This is triggering because I pulled some of mine out by accident. It was the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me. So now, especially, what if they lose one of the eyelashes? Do you then seek out one set of eyelashes, or do you leave one?
You just leave them. Do you think they sell them individually?
I don't know. Do you think that
they come in pairs?
Do they get extensions? What if you're like, these are not quite the vibe for my car?
I'm looking more for a volume, not a cat eye.
We need just volume. A little bit more like blowout.
Like Maybelline lash lift type of vibes. Yeah. I'm not here for this.
I'm not here for this.
Great lash. No.
Yeah. Is that the great lash? The pink?
The pink and the green. The pink and the green, the middle school.
I used to wear it in blue.
Every woman I've ever met that has owned that mascara, and I still have my first tube because I'm a sentimental little bitch and I don't know how to throw it away. It's empty, And I just cleaned off the brush and I use it for like spoolying.
Okay. I used to wear that in blue, and I'm glad that I threw it away.
In blue?
Blue. I was a blue eyelashes, blue eyeliner gal.
You were from a different time.
We are from a different time.
We are from a different time.
I am almost 30. I'm pushing 30.
Adam and I were talking about that today in front of Heather, and he was like, you're like 32. And we were just talking about like people being old, and Heather was like, all of you are about to not have a job.
Yeah. How embarrassing would it be to be almost 30 and
could you imagine?
Fired.
for being that.
For being old.
I'm the baby at work. But the whole conversation started because one of our coworkers was like, he looks 13 and was like, I can't believe I'm older than this other coworker. Jason was saying he can't believe he's older than Liam.
Oh yeah.
And Liam was like, I just look old. And Jason was like, no, I look like Peter Pan. Like, it's simple.
I feel like
Jason does look 13.
Yeah, I feel like our entire, we keep going back to work.
It's an interesting, it's fine.
It's a very interesting place.
Who cares?
But I feel like our work people are very, very all different.
Yes.
You can't tell how old any of us are.
No.
Because we act like 5-year-olds.
We do.
All day.
Yes.
Maybe 12-year-olds on a good day.
On a good day, maybe 12.
Yeah. And they left us in this tiny box.
We are in a little box.
They left us in this tiny little box to be very weird little children and not get bad Yelp reviews.
We all kind of, we all really do currently look the same.
Yeah.
Each of us has a nose piercing.
Yes. Yes?
No, except for Armando.
He's getting one now.
Oh, okay. We are all pierced up in the nostrils.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone has a tattoo.
Every single person. Yep.
Everyone has a
tattoo.
tattoo.
We all have tattoos. All the girls, we keep cutting our shirts. I was never a crop top wearer until
I started a trend.
I saw somebody crop it. The most terrifying thing I've ever seen, and I was so impressed but so scared, is when I saw Obi grab a pair of scissors, and blindly cut it, and it was the most perfect crop top I've ever seen. And it really scared me. I don't know why. It was one of those moments where I'm like, you could literally murder me with that pair of scissors in under 5 seconds.
I definitely could.
It would look so good.
I have such a weird skill when it comes to cropping things, just because I've always done it. Whether it was for the gym or I always know the perfect length, and with hoodies and stuff, or cutting off sleeves. You've seen me muscle tank shit.
The muscle tank.
During the summer, the muscle tank was my thing.
That was very much your thing.
Yeah. I still have them. They're all sitting.
I wanted to attempt it for a second, but
honestly, I think I got the bicep, the tattoo, and I was like, must muscle tank.
Look, we went to Raleigh. Mm-hmm. We went shopping in Raleigh. I don't remember for what. Well,
we were going to shop for our work trip, and we were going to try and find things.
Oh, yeah.
We ended up leaving with a pair of socks and Juicy Couture pants.
And one pin for Liam.
One pin for Liam.
Tiny
because
pin.
You guys are crow people.
Yes.
I am also now a crow person.
Yeah.
I remember I got you a bunch of little pins for your birthday.
A ton of little pins. But every single person in Raleigh, you would think that we were in a foreign country in which they have never seen somebody with tattoos before. I have 20-something tattoos, but I looked like I was taking my cool little sister to the mall so she could hang out.
Because I don't have my license yet. Yeah. But I do have tattoos.
Yeah, and I was like, come on, let's go. Every single person stopped and complimented the arm yet.
The tarot card, which I don't believe in tarot.
You know what? We believe in what, and we believe in that.
It looks
that
fucking
lion.
sick, you know?
We believe that looks fucking sick. And
it does look fucking sick.
That's what's
2
in the
hours
cards.
of my time. What's in the cards? That was in the cards. It says strength, and I was like, me strong.
Yeah.
me resilient.
Me want this on me.
Me big muscle.
Yeah.
Me get tattoo. Oh. But yeah, I'm the most popular person in Raleigh.
Crabtree Valley Mall.
Yeah, Crabtree Valley Mall. Literally every single person was like, oh my God, I love your tattoo. And I'm like, thank you.
And I was just sitting there kind of not just trying to show off all of my tattoos that they could clearly see. And they saw me see them and then
they were like,
not say anything.
Anyways, nice tarot card, kid. Thanks. I appreciate it.
What was the topic that we were on for this one?
We were talking about cars with eyelashes.
I just remembered.
And then me little brain go whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Gotta go somewhere else. That's exactly
right off with her falsy eyelash.
With the falsy eyelash. With the podcast, it's a crazy little brain train, as we've referred to it as.
Brain train.
Again, bringing you back the whole thing. It is not a train podcast. Stop asking me when I'm going to review certain trains.
Hey, Train Spotting is huge. Not the movie. that I hear is a movie because
It's a movie? Should watch it.
apparently it's very, very scary and dark and about drugs and not trains at all.
What?
Maybe there's a train.
Like
Nobody
the
told me.
podcast.
But
Maybe.
it turns out that trains, I get stuck on very, very weird niche sides of TikTok. I'm sure everybody does, but like you just kind of find your way around it. There are people who just get so much serotonin and dopamine when they get to see like really cool trains.
Yeah.
Or like even like regular Amtrak trains, but they're like, this train only takes off from this station at this time once every 6 years in this direction. And they'll stand there and like wait for it. And then the second that the train rolls by, just the look on their faces, just like being like, oh my God, this is so cool. They're like looking at the cameras. They're like running around. Like, they're like, that's the train. And then it's gone, which has to really suck for them. But I do love that one moment of them getting to see.
Just like everything they've ever wanted. Just big boom, there it is.
Yeah.
They whole dreams fulfilled.
Wait till they find out about Thomas the Tank Engine. They're gonna lose their shit. They're gonna lose their shit.
Lose their shit. I don't know. They might already know.
I don't know. I haven't told anybody about it.
I've been keeping it a secret.
I've been absolutely gatekeeping the fuck out of children's cartoons.
Yeah, of course.
Which is also on the list because I love a damn cartoon.
We do.
I'm so sorry.
Are you gonna talk about fucking Peppa Pig?
I'm so sorry for what's about to transpire.
Miss Haley over here is, I'd say, not necessarily unhealthy, but
it's not unhealthy.
She's a thing for Peppa. Peppa Pig is a
it's not a thing for Peppa Pig. All right, listen, you're making it weird now.
She's kind of tall,
this is wholesome.
This is wholesome. Explain your love of Peppa to me.
I love that bitch. I love Peppa Pig so much. She doesn't get the credit that she rightfully deserves among parents. It's just those of us who have no business watching anything that she's involved in.
She's pretty much like, she's become a meme.
A
Dare I say?
A meme.
A meme.
She is a meme. Yeah, because she's fancy. She wears a little dress and everything. She's become more of a meme, but I saw her a couple years ago. One of my nephews was watching, I want to say it's like Noggin or something.
Yeah.
I was babysitting, aka put them in front of a TV and went to go do something else. And then I got stuck watching the TV because I can't have anything in front of me without staring at it.
Of course. That's how I ended up watching like all seasons of Caillou.
Yeah. Fuck Caillou. Fuck Caillou. I hate that kid.
Such a whiny little bitch, I swear.
God, I hate him.
He just, oh my God.
I hate him. I hate everything about him.
Not a fan.
But Peppa Pig.
I used to say one of our coworkers looked like Caillou.
Yeah. A little shiny, little round.
Just in kitten striped pajamas.
God. We've got to stop being bullies in
I'll
public
stop.
by accident because we're really nice people.
I'm
and I
so
hate when other
sweet.
people are bullies.
There's a difference
bully the
between
shit out of one of you at least.
being nice and being kind. Because like nice people are like nice, you know, like they're just nice. And they're nice to have like that perception of being nice. And then there are kind people where they don't really feel like they need to put on the facade of being nice because deep down they're just good-hearted and kind people. I'd say that's us.
I'm a hater. I do
actually
nice
no,
things.
Obi, I'm a bitch.
I actually will never do anything nice. I'm just kidding. I do very nice things, I hope. Or what I think is nice. And they're like, you heard Obi refer to us as crow people earlier, where we like to gather little things. We all love shiny little pins. We love shiny little, anything collectible.
Yes.
If we can get our hands on it at work, it will end up between all of us. And it turns into like one of us has to have it and then all of us have them. And then we like have to, keep collecting. So I will come in with tiny little offerings that I think I'm a giver. I hate getting gifts, but I love giving little things to people and just putting it in their weird little hands and just
here's the thing.
Here you go.
Here you go.
And then I sit there and stare at them with a very absurdly weird smile.
I've started becoming that way with the joint, as in like I'm like building my nest and I must bring random things. Like whenever we went to the rage room, we hit the Suzuki little plate off of the car that was there, and I like pick it up and I looked at him and I'm like, this look really cool in the joint, and I brought it home with me. It's still at my house, and it's waiting to be put up in the joint.
Jamie and I went shopping in Asheville, and we went to this giant warehouse of an antique store, and every single thing I was like, I could put this in the joint. We don't need any more glass vintage beer bottles. We don't need anything.
That place is chaos.
But we do have an entire collection of Peppa Pig and her friends and family.
We do, which we got off of Peppa. That was my fault.
Which we what?
We accidentally moved away from Peppa, but let's move back to Peppa.
Oh yeah, as a topic.
As a topic.
It all circles around. It's all a big circle.
Everything comes back
We're
to
doing
Peppa.
callbacks here. We're good at this. It's
called roundabout talking. You just
That's called whatever the fuck we want to do because it's your podcast. And that's
It's my podcast. I'm right. You're wrong.
That's right.
Shut up.
But we do have an entire collection. One of my coworkers and I, Alyssa, is also weirdly obsessed. Bree, I think really everybody is.
I think we've all been converted to the Peppa cult.
Yeah, or they're at least being forced to participate.
Yes.
As much as I can make them.
Considering that I got a Peppa-themed Valentine from Hannah.
Hannah found those. She went home to go get them before we opened one day because she saw me and she said, I bought something that reminds me of you.
Oh.
I got them for everyone else. I said, I love that. What are they? She said, I'm not telling you. She ran away. And then she came back. She just threw them on the counter. And I screamed so loud because they were Peppa Pig Valentines. And we ended up giving them to some customers that we love.
That's super cute.
And to each other. Even though I found out that Adam didn't read his. He took the candy out of the middle and threw it away. Because he didn't know it was a Valentine. He knew what it was, but he said that the Three Musketeers did slap. So, there's
what do you mean he didn't know it was a Valentine?
He just didn't know there was an inside. He just thought it said to Adam from us. And it was just like a sleeve for one bite-sized candy bar. They threw it away, even though we specially curated, we picked out, selected each Peppa Pig and friend and family greeting based on the person. His says something about baking up a lot of love. Because, he'd be chefing.
Mine said something about the recipe. Mine was also baking or
there were
cooking.
2 baking ones.
Mine was one of them, and how the most important recipe in friendship is me.
It's you. I wanted it to sound threatening, so I was going to put just you with a bunch of underlines.
Just putting me in the dish.
This is one thing that I don't have to make weird. I decided that one day just to be like, you know what? This is a nice thing.
I appreciated it.
Because we're nice people.
And whenever it was given to me, it was whenever I came in for the little Sycamore thing and I was sitting there and it was just thrown in front of me while I had literal tears in my eyes and I was like, oh.
Happy Valentine's, bitch. Sorry you're sad.
It's fine.
Here's Peppa.
Here's Peppa.
Here's Peppa Pig.
Every time I hear Peppa, all I can think about is the John Mulaney skit where he goes, it's Salt and Peppa.
And Peppa.
Which he's not referring to Peppa the Pig at all.
He is now.
He's referring to the comedic duo, Salt and Pepper.
Comedic duo.
They're funny to me.
Push It by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
Peppa is a
rap song.
I am aware.
The raps?
I am aware.
Is it the raps? Am I right? Did I get that one?
I won't correct you on it, but it's not comedic. That's called art. Look it up. Have some culture. Kids these days don't understand. The fact that I learned Tricky by Run DMC when I was 9 to impress everyone I know because it was on the karaoke station on my TV.
I mean,
where it would just play silent songs, but with just the background track. But like you would turn it and it would just be playing karaoke. Mm-hmm. I learned that to impress all my friends that I was a rapper, which I am. And now it's a TikTok trend. These kids don't even know. They know the 30 seconds of the song that plays on TikTok over and over again.
That is TikTok.
Rude.
Speaking of TikTok. I can't tell if I hate it or not. I love TikTok. And people are always like, Vine is better, which is just not true.
Vine was, listen, this is where we have a cultural reset. All right.
I was
a cultural
very
divide,
much,
really.
I was very much in my my years of development whenever Vine was big. Me was growing. I had a Vine.
She got a little taller.
Like, I did get a little taller. I am giant. I was like very into Vine. I was very into Vine. I loved it and stuff. And I mean, it was like, but I enjoy TikTok more.
I enjoy Vine because it is now rare. It's one of those you had to be there for it.
Yeah.
Even though you had a Vine, this was the year that I graduated high school.
I feel like it was probably very different.
It was very different. It was the year I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
It was running around high school hallways just screaming Vine references at each other. The other day, I walked into, I was at my other job at the brewery. I turned around and there's this giant whiteboard. It's like 7 feet tall. I'm sure it's actually really not, but it's pretty tall.
7 feet tall in the perspective of a 5'1" woman.
Peppa Pig is 7'3".
So it was a
that
Peppa
whiteboard,
Pig-sized
that's a
whiteboard.
Peppa Pig-sized whiteboard.
Wow, that's intimidating.
Look that up.
Look it up. It's true.
It is true. But don't ask about the rest of the scale of the family because I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. She's 7'3".
She is
7'3". I will stand on
and
that
everyone
hill.
else is completely averagely sized.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I walked into this Peppa Pig-sized board. Oh, my God. And
Yeah.
I turned around, and I didn't know it was there. And I immediately just went, give my hat back, Jordan. Do you want to go see Uncle Cracker or not? Which is a Vine reference.
It is a Vine reference.
Because that's all my brain decided to absorb my senior year of high school. So now
I remember we had like a spirit day where it was like, this is your favorite Vine.
I wish I would have had that.
It was amazing.
I would have. I also still drive my car. That's right there.
That way.
That way.
In that direction.
That one. Says road work ahead.
Yeah,
I sure hope it does. I have that sticker on my car.
Drew Gooden has been, I love him.
From Vine.
He is from Vine.
Drew Gooden from Vine.
Drew Gooden from Vine. Now YouTube sensation.
Yes.
Same thing with Noel Miller. Also a YouTube sensation.
Yes.
He was, Skinny Penis. That's Noel.
it's your boy. DJ Skinny Penis.
Yeah, that's Noel Miller. It's crazy. Cody Ko.
Yep. Cody Ko. Liza Koshy was big. Was originally.
She was huge.
She was Vine.
Like, the Paul brothers were born on Vine.
I wish I didn't, but I do.
We do know.
I do know that.
Hopefully, R.I.P. their careers soon.
No, I don't think so. They're up yucking it up with Mr. Beast down in Costa Rica or something. I don't know. Costa Rica. I don't know. Something about them. Just...
Our boss was talking about how he went on the town with Mr. Beast. Because Mr. Beast recently broke up with his girlfriend.
He was. Somebody said that they were there downtown. I don't think anybody has any confirmed sightings. I also,
Yeah. I just I remember Adam was like, do you think Jimmy pulls? I'm like, Mr. Beast might pull, but do you think Jimmy pulls? I'm like, yeah, probably. It's Mr.
I looked at him in the eyes and said, I've done a lot less for $1 million. A lot. I've done a lot more for a lot less.
Yeah, I was about to say you have $1 million.
Done a lot. I've done a lot more for less money.
Yes.
Not that I've ever done anything for money.
You got stapled in the arm for a job.
I got stapled in the arm. That had nothing to do with the job. We're just going with that story that I let my boss put a staple gun through my arm.
Yeah.
I have been subject to being called JoJo Siwa on our social media.
Which is still the funniest.
For $2.13 an hour. Tip your bartenders for $2.13 an hour.
$2.13 an hour.
Is what we make. And I had to be called JoJo Siwa for that. I've been... Oh, what else have I done? I've done some crazy things. I got knighted at our job. I drank my 500th beer, and my boss looked at me with one eye closed because it was during a party for him, holding a sword to put on both of my shoulders. I thought I was going to die at that moment. But I did it because I'm a great employee.
You are a great employee. You're a phenomenal employee.
Thank you so much.
I feel like you don't get enough credit.
Thank you so much.
I feel like you don't get enough credit, but you do get. You rock, dude.
Thank you. Are we allowed to high five? I gotta go under. That was a high five if you didn't hear it on ASMR
it was a
microphone.
Yeah, don't start ASMRing. I will finish this episode without your ass.
If Vine had ASMR back in the day, I probably would have never had to go to therapy.
Stop it. But the reason why I started the TikTok conversation is because I thought we might take the opportunity to wiggle away from us bullshitting for about 38 minutes and talk about you are someone who deals with, we talked about monkey brain, and we were even talking about it today about with your ADHD and stuff like that, and how
if you haven't been able to tell already.
Yeah, if you're this far in and you don't know,
you don't know, now you know.
Well, and how we were talking about how TikTok has affected, obviously the normalization of mental health is really important. And I think that it becoming a conversation and people feeling comfortable to open up about it on social media we're honestly very blessed that we can do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's gotten to the point with the mental health talk, TikTok mental health, with people kind of self-diagnosing and kind of not normalizing as in just kind of romanticizing certain mental disorders. So I wanted to ask what you thought about that.
Well, so, having ADHD is one of my only personality traits, right?
Very much so.
Unfortunately, because my brain decides to bring it up all the time.
Yeah.
But it really is something that I struggled with when I was little. And I've been, like, not to toot my own horn, but I've always been real book smart. I've always been very, very, like, academically minded, very much, now this is where they edit in the clip of me talking about being a community college dropout.
It's fine.
We're fine.
It's okay.
But I was super, super academically minded. But the only thing was, when I was in class, I wanted to talk to everybody. I wanted to drum on my desk. I wanted to fidget. I wanted to ask a bunch of questions. And it was really taught as I was just a girl with an overactive imagination who was chatty. I always got in trouble for being chatty.
I got that a lot too.
Yep. And it was also things of, like, I could read a book in less than a day if I chose it, but if it was assigned to me, if it became a task, for some reason I would sit there and I would cry. And I was not a super misbehaved kid.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have a lot of rules growing up, but, like, it was crazy. But, as far as, when I was made to do something, it became an absolute nightmare. Yeah. And then as I got, like, preteen wise, I was always just kind of told that I was an airhead, like, still really smart. Like, my parents did not understand it. How can I go to school and make straight A's? And then I come home and I left my softball bag at school, or I left my house key for the 51st time, somewhere random. Yeah. And they'd be like, just think, just be smart, just
use brain.
Use that brain. And then, it got really frustrating when I was in high school when people were talking about what they wanted to do when they get older. And I had 600 ideas and I wanted to take all of these classes and do all of these things. And everyone's like, hey, you got to rein it in and edit it down. I was like, why do I have to do that? Right.
Yeah.
So it was just always really frustrating because anytime all of my brothers were diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, I have a huge family, tons of siblings, one of 11. So pretty much all of my,
goodness. Yeah. Every time you, like, remind me of that, I'm like,
yeah. That's why I'm loud. I got to be heard.
Yeah, of course.
But with 6 brothers, they were all diagnosed with ADD and ADHD. And every single time that I went to the doctor, they were just told I was hyper. I was overly dramatic. I was chatty. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
It was very frustrating because then as an adult, especially living in a college town, I was scared to go to the doctor because I started going about the time that ADHD became popular on TikTok.
Yeah.
And, it would remind me, I'd see the list of symptoms. But then it was like, I'd also see these girls, Gabby Hanna. I know.
Name drop.
Gabby Hanna, when she pulled her whole, oh my God, I'm ADHD. I'm so crazy. I'm so quirky. Oh, it's just my ADHD acting up. It's this and it's that. And I'm never going to diagnose another person. I can just tell them, like, hey, if these are your symptoms, that's similar to what I have. You can, like, help people, but I will never, like, be like, oh no, you've got this. Yeah, no. Like with her, I was like, I don't think you know what ADHD is. Because you're just using that as an excuse for anything that you think is, like, wild and crazy. Yeah. But I did go to the doctor, got medicated. Now it is a lot easier to control my brain. And I started learning a lot about myself that I didn't know was ADHD related. I just thought were very bad traits of myself that I didn't know. I'd be like, I'm a piece of shit some days. I just want to do this. Or, like, I can't leave my house all day if I have an appointment at 3. Yeah. Even if I wake up at 8 a.m., I sit there paralyzed. That's ADHD. And I'm not saying that if you do that, it is ADHD.
But it's something that makes sense with your existing condition. Yeah.
Losing things, object permanence. Because you put it down and then your brain doesn't say, like, hey, we're going to record that where that is. Yeah. It's just like, anyways. Yeah. I follow this great woman on TikTok. There are really great TikToks for ADHD, and this isn't shitting on everybody in that mental health space. Yeah.
It's one of those things where a select group of people kind of ruins the credibility of the entire thing. And I think that's the whole point with mental health today when I talk about, like, how the conversation is so open. And then now it's too open, I feel, which is, like, I never thought I'd say that, but it's kind of like we see the people talking about like, oh yeah, I'm dealing with this, and oh my God, like all, you know what I'm trying to say. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Definitely 100%. Make sure you get help and stuff. And then they're just kind of bringing a bad name to the certain types of like disorders that people are dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was scared to go to my doctor today and say, hey, I've been on my medication for X amount now. It really, really works, except for in these instances that it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I want to tell them like straight up, like, I know I need an increase, but I didn't want to seem like I was asking for more. I'm being like, give me drugs. Give me brain drugs. Please. Make my brain happy, please.
Yeah.
It's my brain just menacingly screaming in the back. Because I'm scared that doctors now are going to kind of get smart about this and say, we're going to be really, really careful about Adderall. And, there are a lot of instances where they should be. But it's like,
I definitely think that sometimes people do. Like, I've heard people be like, oh, well, I need to get Adderall. I'm going to go to my doctor. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got prescribed Adderall. And it's like, maybe you don't actually even need it.
You just need it for an exam or something. Which, I'm not going to shit on people when you're like, I need an Adderall for an exam. The whole thing is to help people focus.
Yeah.
But when there's people going, TikTok said that my brain is real quirky, so I need Adderall. And then you're going to get, quirky. But like with
disgusting.
those two little like things on the keyboard, the squiggles.
Quirky.
It's
yeah,
quirky.
No. Yeah, quirky. Someone thought it would be funny to consistently call me quirky because they knew it bothered me, and it still makes my skin boil every time I think about it.
I thought I was quirky in
because
high school.
I'd sit there and I'd be like, oh yeah, and like, talking about my mental illness, like how sometimes like it's scary, like I like with the new diagnosis and everything, like sometimes I don't feel real, and they'll be like, that's so quirky, and I'm like, no, it's fucking scary. Like, fuck you.
It's not quirky, Bethany. Please leave me alone because I'm struggling.
I'm in pain.
It's quirky. It's when I used to wear glitter eyeshadow so that way I would look more like one of the Cullens in middle school. That was quirky.
The other day I have like this blue like shirt, and like I like curled my hair and everything. It's like a tight like long sleeve, and I had like a little white tank top underneath it, and it was like long kind of, and I said Bella Swan. And I just was convinced. I was
so
like,
the lion fell in love with the lamb.
Holds apple, bounces apple on foot.
Somebody had an apple at work, and every single person walked up and did that because we're all
the same.
Quirky.
We're all quirky. I think
all same dumb.
All same dumb.
All same dumb.
All hive brain.
All
hive.
All
brain.
Quirky. Yeah. But as far as it goes, man, with TikTok, everybody's got something going on, and I don't like to be the person to discount anybody's mental health, mental illness.
Yeah.
If they self-diagnose, sometimes that can be good, right? Where you recognize you have an issue.
Maybe like you think some symptoms align with a certain disorder. Because like I've mentioned it before, like symptoms don't, like just because you experience certain things doesn't mean that you have a specific disorder. The D at the end of a lot of...
Causation does not equal correlation.
Correlation isn't equal... Quasimodo. That's what I almost said. Like the D...
And that's what our psychologists say, everyone.
Boom.
We clearly
I go to therapy for that. The D stands for disorder, as in it is something that genuinely affects your way of living and makes it significantly harder. So like I remember when I was younger, like one of my family members would joke about them having OCD all the time because they wanted to clean their bath, like they wanted things to be clean. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. My thoughts never shut up. Like it was like one of those things where it's like it devalues it to a certain point to where it's just thrown around. Like the term manic is just thrown around. Yeah,
you covered that last episode. I was listening to it on the way here. I missed one. And when you were talking about manic, I, long time ago, was diagnosed with BPD, borderline personality disorder, and manic is one of those top phrases that they like to use. And I was like, oh, I'm never manic. And then I was like, I'm manic. Sometimes I do.
Scary, dude.
But then when people are like, oh, I'm going through a manic phase, I just bought $6,000 worth of stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, that can definitely be an indicator of a manic phase. And they're like, they've even done manic hauls on TikTok where they're like, look at all of these things that I did, and all of these, they'll be like, I got a piercing and a tattoo and all these things. It's like, I've definitely done all of those things whilst manic. But you know what I've also done? crashed my car into a mailbox.
Yeah.
For literally fun. Not even fun. It wasn't fun.
It was not fun.
Or when you say, I'm being completely manic, when you are legitimately looking up airline tickets to start a new job as a stewardess on a cruise in Alaska because something very insignificant happened to you. But now that is the brain's time to be like, we're getting out of here. We're getting out of here. Let's go.
Crazy. Like when you were talking about like people being like manic calls and stuff like that on TikTok, something I see a lot on TikTok. People are like, oh, I'm in my depressive phase, and then it'll be like a switch over, and they're like manic God complex, nothing matters, yeah, and it's like they're painting it as like a positive light, as something to help cope with the depression, which is not exactly how that relationship goes. Usually, that in that mania, which were like I kind of talked about it in my episode where I was on a legitimate 4-month manic episode, and then it crashed into like an intense like depressive episode, and it's not like, oh yeah, I feel amazing about myself like the whole time. Like I felt horrible while I was manic. I do feel horrible while I'm manic, but it's such a complex, and it's hard to explain those emotions to people. But when I see on TikTok people making that whole concept is like a desirable thing to be manic and to have that God complex mentality, it scares the fuck out of me.
That God complex, every time somebody says God complex now, I think of all of the TikToks that you do where you got to do the.
I do like to.
It's just that thing, and it's and not saying that these are real symptoms, and just because you don't have all of them doesn't mean you don't have this. So people do get the God complex. I don't. Yeah. I wish. No, I don't wish that I did, but like that would be a nicer symptom to have than some of the ones. But, people are really these days going out on a limb when it comes to these TikTok diagnoses. And it's frustrating for those of us who have to sit back and kind of watch.
And it's one of those things where I'm not saying where it's not okay to joke about. Right. Because a lot of people.
I only cope with humor.
A lot of people use humor as coping, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But you can tell the difference when there are instances of someone trying to like make light of a situation because it's making them feel better, and then someone kind of bragging about their mental illness. Yeah. You can feel it kind of.
And that's dangerous. That's what you were saying earlier, that romanticization. They make that shit look real good. They make mental illness.
That shit.
They make mental illness look real fun. And there were also when I was growing up as a young gal, we had like those when I was in middle school, those Ellen Hopkins books had just come out, right? The Impulse ones, Glass, Crank, all that. Yeah, everybody wanted to be mentally ill, and I was like,
you know what? I saw this huge connection. Sorry, I'm so sorry, but it was with young adult novels and them creating those like how like the whole pick-me girl thing, they created that, and how they created the idolization of mental illness because like she's having an anxiety attack and he's like there for her, like glamorizing PTSD as a romantic trope. Right. You see this whole generation that grew up basically in the big boom of young adult novels with like Divergent, Hunger Games, stuff like that, where they took these tragedies and these emotional turmoil and made it desirable. Like it made it be like, you're not special unless you're going through something like this horrific, whether it's in your brain or if it's like an actual traumatic event. And that's where the thing where we mentioned the competitiveness that is in with like mental health and trauma, and people being like, oh, well, I mean, this is what I've gone through, and using it more as like I am now more special because of the things I've been through.
Right. And that's why like half the time, like we have found a really nice tribe. I hate using that as a very much an MLM.
It's a great group of people.
It's an MLM word. I will lose my freaking mind about a damn marketing scheme. But our tribe of people, our group of people, our little safe space within like our restaurant family even. And we don't like each other all the time. Half the time, sometimes we don't like each other. But, if I'm talking about my mental illness or my mental like health, whatever's going on in that moment, everybody listens. And I literally feel like I can blurt that shit out all the time. Be like, I am depressed as hell today. My brain is not, like, I took my medicine and my brain is not aligning with where I want it to be. Yeah. I apologize in advance because it's going to affect my job. And then we're like, you know what? We got you. We're going to pick up that slack. Or somebody else can be like, me too. We're going to struggle together.
Here we go.
We are in the
Our
trenches.
last 2 brain cells
They are
fighting together.
They are holding hands for dear fucking life. They are Jack and Rose.
We are
on
sharing
that
a brain
door
cell.
in Titanic, even though Rose could move the fuck over.
She can.
She really
It's
could
just
have.
a fact.
And you know what? That's fine though.
Okay.
But like, but the whole thing is, you know, you can find your spaces to talk about your mental health and it not be like, you know, I'm the worst at trying to relate to people.
Yeah.
And then I sound like I'm talking about myself for an hour. But I'm like, ooh, you're big sad? Me too. Listen to this shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm sad about. And it always sounds like I'm, you know, and I always apologize after. I'm like, damn, that is not what I was trying to do. I was trying to say there are literally two things that match up in our story. And now I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of the times, even when you talk about your own mental illness, because we know of the TikTok pick me girls and things like that, or whatever the term is that we're using, people automatically think that you're doing that too.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
like when I say I have ADHD, everyone's like, "Well, everybody does now." No, not everybody does now.
No.
I've had it since the time like I was little, and I struggled. And here we are. You know, when we say, "Oh, everyone," you know, when you're like, "Oh, I'm depressed." One's like, me too. It's like, there's a difference between sad and depressed. We can talk about it. And it's not bad if you're not depressed. It's not bad. You're not.
And it doesn't make, just because you're not depressed, you're not dealing with depression, doesn't make your sadness less valid.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. I feel like we were almost encouraged, we're like, only these intense, like, chronic emotions need to be addressed and treated, but that's not true at all. I mean, if you were dealing with like spells of sadness and stuff like that where like it's continuous, it could necessarily not be depression. It could just be that you need help or you're lacking something, your body's trying to tell you in some certain way. Just because it's not depression doesn't make it
You can literally have
any less valuable.
vitamin deficiencies.
Vitamin D, did you know that? Did you know that?
I do know what vitamin D is.
No, that's not what I mean. I was told when I was recently, like when I was in the hospital, they were like, when you're in there and you're kept out from the sun, they require everyone now to take vitamin D because literally not getting to see the sun,
fluorescent lights are
makes you
not
more
great
depressed.
for your serotonin.
They now like
Creepy sock gang.
They were like, yo, hey, your vitamins are really important. I'm like, yeah, I know. They were like, no, like your vitamins affect your mental health. And I was like, what?
Like if you don't take it, you're not getting your blanket to go to group today.
Fuck. If you don't take it, you're not getting snack time. No graham crackers for you.
No, only PG Disney movies allowed for the Netflix viewing.
Oh, no. We watched like Mad Max and shit. Like
what?
Yeah.
We were only allowed, you know.
We were watching the news, which like feels wrong.
I was in an adult ward area, and they only let us like watch like PG-13. I think was what we could watch. You know, this was also in Wilmington. It's a very scary place out there sometimes.
It's always scary.
It's scary, but it's fun. It's a good time. But we watched. I did get to have one of those really fun, romanticized moments where I got everybody to watch Tangled and taught them the sing along. Like there was a sing along version.
That's really cute.
And there were very many people who liked that.
That's very
and we got
sweet.
to sing along. And it's looking back on it now, it was a good moment. But also, how am I going to explain that to people? Be like, what's one of the best moments of your life? When I got my entire psych ward to sing Tangled along with me, and Pascal was the little marker, you know,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And then it's just like a chameleon. And then some guy is just screaming. But it's good. It's fun. That was great.
I have been struggling. I will say, like, with what you said, like, how do you bring that up and, like, mention it? And it's like, that was one of the things where whenever I was like, oh, I was in the hospital, how do I, like, say it was a grippy sock vacation? And is that required? And it was like, it feels like I'm, you know, being like, you know, be like, oh, yeah, no, I just, you know, I was in the hospital. It's like, oh, my God, what happened? It's like,
So listen, what happened?
And I had recently tried the new technique about being just unabashedly honest about my mental health.
Oh, that is.
It backfired tremendously.
If I gave you that
fucking
advice, I'm sorry, and I'm going to act like I did.
It was just one of those things where it was like, I was very open and I was like, hey, here's me dealing with my mental health and this is a problem that is a part of my life and this is something that people in my life also are affected by. And I also had an instance recently where it was this and person was like, no, never mind. I gotta go. This podcast is my therapy.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, the other night when we had, so listen, like I said earlier, if it's one thing I am, I think I got this from a TikTok, like I do most of my personality
A lot
in
of my
life
jokes
now.
is from TikTok.
Somebody said if it's one thing I am, it's a hater. The other night we had a Sick of Love event. It was an anti-Valentine's the day after.
I hate it.
And my way of selling it to tables to come up and write down their stories was that this is cheaper than therapy. Write your things down on a Post-it note. I'm a very open person. You guys know that.
Yeah.
I am. I will tell you whatever it is because if it makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry.
Too bad.
If
I've
it
been nothing
if it
but
makes you
honest.
uncomfortable in a way where I have stepped over your boundaries, you know,
Mhm.
I try to be very, very, aware of that.
Yeah.
But if it's something about me, I'm gonna tell it. And then that's
When
why
it comes
also
to
I
a
don't believe in the
story-
zodiac. Oh no. I'm so sorry, guys. We gotta cut this short because I gotta go. She's looked at me. She doesn't believe in tarot cards, but
But the zodiac is where I cross the line.
but the stars told her.
I don't let the stars and the zodiacs affect the way that I live my life.
Scorpios are supposed to be mysterious.
That is like-
You know a mystery about me? Because I sure don't. I have said every damn thought that has popped into my head for the last 10 years.
The thing is I think it's a different form of mystery, as in there's so much going on, you never actually know what's happening.
I'll tell you if you just ask. I'll give you a play-by-play.
She's an open book,
of
everyone.
what's
She's an open book.
just
It's
ask.
my favorite thing about
Right, which is exactly how I had to accidentally tell my entire staff at my other job that I was in groupie sock jail because they asked me where I learned to play cards. I said, y'all want to know some shit? I could have just said, I don't know, if a friend.
Just when I was a kid.
Just, or like.
The thing is
just
like, you
I
could-
actually don't remember. And I said, have y'all ever been stuck in grippy sock jail where they literally don't let you have shoelaces or underwire and you have nothing to do except for color with felt tip markers and watch sing-alongs and sit in a room with a nurse who went to high school with you and is, clearly doing better than you are because she's at the desk and you're on the other side of it.
And you're wearing the green scrubs, the paper scrubs.
Yep.
Oh
and
my God.
you are uncomfortable. Have you ever had to be weirdly escorted into a room by a police officer when you're in a wheelchair? And when you try to talk to the police officer about, like, hey, I promise, I'm good. He's like, yeah, you are. You're about to be. It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
It's a good vacation.
I did get to explain that to all of my bartender friends who learn new things about me every time
day.
I open my mouth. Not even every day. Every time I
Every
speak,
moment.
I'm like, y'all want to know some shit? This is
Y'all
why I
wanna
try to
hear?
not one up people. I'm just like, damn, this is funny. And then nobody else laughs. I'm like, y'all are buzzkills.
Y'all suck. No sense of humor at all whatsoever.
No sense of humor.
Well, on that note, on that very positive note, I think we're gonna wrap it up. It's been an hour.
That was terrifying.
Did you have fun?
I had
Did you have
fun.
I'm glad you came. I'm glad you're
I'm
here.
so sorry to the editors. I'm so sorry to anybody aforementioned.
Anyone
in
mentioned
said podcast.
they won't listen. No
Yeah.
one listens. Actually, we don't
I
even
listen.
really, except for Haley. Yeah, you listen, and all my exes collectively listen.
Yeah,
Hey y'all,
we're like a little club.
miss you.
I don't.
Yeah, no, actually,
I don't even know y'all like that.
I don't even, I don't even know you like that, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for listening and watching. If you are watching, thank you so much, Haley, for joining me. If you could please do me a favor and follow the About That with Obi on Instagram, and then also follow the Small Stuff Media account if you want to see what's going on, see what we have chugging out, and we always have new content for you guys. And also, if you don't mind clicking the link and checking out the YouTube channel, or if you're already on it, hi, nice to see you, and pop a little subscribe. Just go ahead and just hit that button right there. Also, send this to your friends, family, your dog. Send this to one of your coworkers, even who you have crazy conversations with. Yeah, fuck it, we ball. Do you want to shout out anything? And
I have always wanted to publicly say, like, comment, subscribe, smash that subscribe button.
don't smash it.
Thanks for listening to our brains.
Thank you. Yeah. All right.
So sorry about that.
I'll catch you guys next time.